Hello Cold Cuts listeners, Bateman here. I was just showing Harris how to discreetly dispose of a Latinx woman's body so as to avoid suspicion, and he asked me to tell you that if you subscribe to the Cold Cuts Patreon right now, you can watch the rest of the episode featuring Skinamarink creator Kyle Edward Ball. There's a whole host of other benefits including Patreon-only podcast episodes, early access to comics, and an invite to the Patreon-only Discord server. And you can join for just $5 right now. Well, I've got to return some child to Harris, so I'll see you some other time. Thank you.
Whose is better? That's my question. Listen, I know you said you didn't want to get political, but whose backlog have you been enjoying more? No shame.
I'd say they're about the same.
I'm giving 1 point to House of Decline. I feel like it's a House of Decline.
I actually, funny enough, like I started listening to some of House of Decline's
Are they free?
They're on. A lot of them are
He
on
has
Spotify.
a Patreon, but I listen to most of I didn't get a with you guys. I got your Patreon and listened to both the free back catalog and the Patreon back catalog.
Hell yeah.
Let's go. Any standout episodes? Anything that was like a favorite? Maybe a guest episode?
I don't know. No, not you guys just have such good banter. I did notice differences though. Like you guys in the earlier episodes, you did use the F slur a lot more.
That was Harris's idea.
I don't say
Harris
that.
loves
I don't
to
say that.
It's like, whoa. And then at some point, at some point, I think maybe we should tone it down on the slurs in general.
I'm pretty sure that was my input. I think when we after the Vosh episode and we started to kind of gain a little bit of traction with our audience, I was like, we should probably say less F slur, less R slur. They still find their way into the episode.
The M slur was big too.
Yeah. That one, I was like, we can
recall that.
We don't want to lose our edge, we don't want to lose all of our clout. But anyway, but
that's really
flattering. I can't
then
believe you've been listening to the episode.
Harris is like, all right, fine, no F slurs. And it's like, okay, hold on, I didn't say no F slurs.
That's done. Let's not go overboard. It's all about moderation here.
It's that meme with the guy with the calendar that's 1984.
Yeah, literally, cannot believe this. Kyle. Well, first of all, we should do an introduction, right? I mean, people already know who you are.
Mr. Balls. His reputation precedes him, bro.
Kyle Edward Ball is back on the podcast. I was literally shitting my pants when we were having you on the first time to talk to you, because I was like, I cannot believe that
this guy's wasting his time.
Told this guy. I can't believe he's going to be on our podcast. And I was like telling Zach, I was really being a hard ass. I'm like, dude, please do not get too reckless. I really wanted it to be sort of interview style, because first of all, I wanted to ask you a lot of questions about the movie, but also I was like, I was so excited to have you on that I was really uptight going into the interview with you the first time.
That's why I think it worked, and that's why I think you guys have perfect podcast chemistry.
Thanks.
And perfect you're kind of more the straight man, so to speak, and you guys bounce off each other quite well.
Thanks.
And I think that's everyone and their grandma wants to do a podcast, but most of them don't work because they don't realize that you need on camera chemistry and to play off each other. But even the ones you did recently of just you guys recording each other fishing or whatever, which usually podcasts where we do an on location thing like that, they usually don't work. It's kind of just masturbatory, but you guys actually did. Well, it was quite listenable. So
I'm glad.
I think the best part about that was Harris investing $100 into that audio recorder, because the sounds out there are so good. But
which audio recorder?
I got
an H4n.
The H4n.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
I sold 1 billion of those motherfuckers when I worked at BizTech. Oh yeah.
I mean, when I did some in college, and then even a little bit after, if I ever did PA work, like production assistant stuff. We were always using these, but we would have a boom mic plugged in. I had never used it for the top two little microphones.
It's not bad. The
good.
directionality is a bit weird because it's an
Yes.
XY, but if you change the settings on it, like it works really well.
It was surprising that when we recorded, just like I actually was like, I kind of like that we can hear like the bugs and the birds and like everything going on. And it was like, I was like, this is kind of interesting. Like it's still a podcast, but you kind of pick up on the ambience a little bit too.
Bro, the
So
first 3 times you recorded with that, and you were like, dude, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. You didn't know how to use it, so you'd scroll through and it would play because you bought it from some guy.
yeah.
And he like has this recorded thing on his where he's like 1, 2, 3, testing,
Yeah,
testing.
I like,
Dude, you saved that to my computer when you were downloading all the audio, so now I just have this file of this man haunting me, and I'm
like,
trying to squeeze it in somewhere, dude.
yeah,
It's so good.
I bought it here just off like OfferUp in Miami from this like very nice like middle-aged Venezuelan guy. And yeah, when I like first used it, I guess he was testing to make sure that it worked, and that's what he's like,
Aww.
testing, 1, 2, 3.
It's so good, dude.
It's really
I fucking
funny, yeah.
love it.
But I remember giving you the headphones and being like, dude, you gotta hear this. Like the audio sounds like you can hear
I
the
thought you were
birds
doing
and
a
the
bit. I was
Dude,
like,
you put it on, it
what
was
is
like,
this?
hello, testing. Anyway, but Kyle, welcome back. We wanted to ask you a bit. You had a very big announcement on Twitter fairly recently.
Yeah, I posted a picture of the title page of my like rough draft of my script, and it's good too because sometimes I've done rough drafts where it wasn't really like I got to the from the beginning to the end, but there was parts where I literally had like scene missing, and it's like fill in later. But this is actually goes completely from front to back, and I covered the title with my finger because I don't want to say what the title is yet.
Gotcha.
So I wanted it. Skinamarink. Oh yeah, so that's another. It's not a sequel, prequel,
I know,
remake.
everyone
spiritual
is like, I feel like begging for it to be a sequel. When I look at
but
your
like
comments,
it doesn't
dude.
lend itself well to a sequel
No,
at
dude,
all,
and
right?
fuck doing a like, bro. This is your sophomore movie. You're still an incredibly creative guy.
Yeah.
You should not be doing sequels. Sequels are for when Kyle Edward Ball is like 50 years old, and maybe you're feeling lazy. That's when you make Skinamarink 2, and you can fucking.
They gotta go. Those kids gotta go back to the house.
Literally, yes,
back
dude,
to the house.
yes,
Dude,
bro. Dude, the
That they
telephone
never-
has like a beard.
It heavily implied they don't leave, but like.
Well, I think the last time that we had you on, well, actually, now I'm remembering the answer you gave because we were asking you. There's a lot of theories about Skinamarink and if there was like a meaning behind it because it's very experimental and a lot of it is left open to interpretation. And you had mentioned that you've seen theories online which do align with your head canon.
Yeah.
Is it still too soon to divulge what that might be?
I'm never gonna
You're never gonna divulge it.
Like, the beautiful thing about the movie, and I don't want to sound pretentious, was at some point I stopped writing the movie, and then a beautiful thing happened.
Mhm.
People kept writing the movie for me on YouTube comments and Twitter threads and Reddit.
Yes.
On Reddit,
Disgusting.
Which we all know you guys love Reddit. So. Yeah.
Do you feel like now? I mean, I think at the time maybe I'm wrong. You could correct me, but there was a little bit of because it had come out fairly recently. It felt like there was like you had a little bit of sensitivity to the fact that some people were responding negatively to the movie, like didn't like it. And I think when we brought it up, I could tell, I don't know, it felt like there was a part of you that was, because it was so close to you and such a personal project that was hurtful to hear. Do you feel that way, or are you kind of over that?
Yeah,
now
like
that it's settled?
it still hurts, and ideally in a perfect world, like I know certainly the vast majority of them aren't like, hey, let's hurt this guy's feelings, right? Like it's a movie and it's fair game, right? Like, but I can't help not taking it personally a little bit, but if you have a person who's not super thin-skinned and sensitive, then you don't necessarily get works of art like Skinamarink, right? Like the same goes maybe for you guys, right? Like if you aren't exactly the type of person you are, you don't get like comics like Sonic the Hedgehog can't go within 50 meters of a school,
I
or
Good
love this
classic.
man. I love this man.
or the one you did recently of all the guy who's got a phone implanted in his head,
Yeah,
right?
the
Like I
society.
love yeah, that one really said a lot about society.
Well, dude,
dude,
there's this.
people
Sorry,
thought
there's
I was
this
being
feeling.
political about that. Like people got angry that I was doing political comics over that.
Someone got mad at
Wait,
the telephone one.
they didn't get the like layers of irony to
No,
that, like
every time that I think I'm putting something out there that has like a very obvious like layer of irony, there's still gonna be like it's under
do
10,
you
but there
think
will
they're
be
trolling?
I think it's the same type of person who got
think they're
mad
just
at your
dumb.
Banksy
Banksy?
The
comic.
Banksy
Yes,
comic.
yes.
Oh, so the Alberta Art Gallery right now is doing a here's all our collect like impressive collection, right? So they have a few Warhols and they're bringing out their Warhols and blah blah blah, and they have a few Banksies. So they're
God, here we
so
go.
like yeah, so they have like so their big ad for like the Alberta Art is like from Warhol to Banksy, right? So like
God,
That's
dude.
crazy, dude.
Kyle, you need to go burn them, bro.
yeah,
I am.
need to go swing
I
by.
might go, but
I am going to sound totally schizo here for a second, but okay, that Banksy comic, and I'm not trying to sniff my own farts here. It did numbers. It spread.
it
It
did.
went viral. It was really big on Twitter and
Sir Tim Pool
Instagram.
reposted it and didn't credit you.
Did he really? I didn't even see that
No,
one.
you said this was a
No.
thing that
That was he
was.
reposted the Alex Jones
Oh,
gay frogs one. Yeah, if he but
oh.
that's why, and then I reposted it, and it's part of the reason I got like banned on Instagram is because I reposted it and I was like, "Oh, Tim Pool, thanks so much for sharing my comic. If I ever see you in real life, I will throw you upside down through a plate glass window." And then like I got automatically flagged by Instagram and they were like, "This is inciting violence." And I was like, okay, whatever. But anyway, the Banksy one did a lot of numbers and I saw it reposted all over the place and people were angry about it. But I couldn't help but notice. I don't know why it piqued my curiosity. I Googled, like Google image searched Banksy comic, and you would think, because there's not really that many comics I think that are actually drawn about Banksy, that it would show up in a Google search, but it doesn't. And I was wondering if
Google's
there's a
suppressing you, dude.
possibility that Banksy is like whatever the opposite of like search engine optimization is, that he's like actually actively trying to like snuff that image out.
There's no way.
I don't have any proof, but I think there's a pretty high likelihood that he has seen it. I mean, he's totally seen it. I mean, like I think he has, and like I don't know. It's weird that if you Google it, it just doesn't.
We don't know Banksy's
up.
gender, though, do we?
I
We
also
don't even
heard
know
that
that
it's
it's one
probably a
guy.
collective, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've
I
heard
think
it's like
it
a
could be.
collective. Dude, before we move on from the topic, okay, I have to say something very Reddit.
Okay.
This has definitely been said before, and I'm sure you guys agree, but I think the reason it hurts when someone dislikes your stuff, even when you're rationally like, they're allowed to dislike it, is it's like, your stuff kind of feels like an extension of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It
for me,
is,
it's
yeah.
easy to be like, oh, this person hates me if they don't like the
Yeah,
comic, which in my
totally.
case is probably true. That's probably true. But like, that feeling is like hard to shake. I feel like as a creative, you know what I'm saying?
Well, as an
It's
honest,
hard,
as an
yeah.
honest creative, I think
Yeah.
like if you're creating stuff that is in what you feel is true to yourself, things that you are enjoying making and that you feel like is, even if it's something silly, or even if it's something like the Sonic can't go near a school or
That
something
was
like
dear to my
that.
heart, bro.
But it's like there is something there that like you're making a comic that other people are not making because it's very unique to yourself. Skinamarink obviously goes without saying, is a movie that nothing quite like it really, I think, existed before it came out. And so, like, you know, it's a really, those are both pretty honest representations of like both of you guys as artists. So it would make
It's
sense.
also like kind of hard too, because like, okay, and like this is just kind of all by accident, but it's like, okay, it literally filmed in the house I like learned to walk in, and like
That is crazy.
with characters like more or less based. So like, and when someone says, you know, fuck this movie, they're not consciously thinking I'm gonna shit on this guy's like childhood like they're just like, I don't like this movie, and it's fair game, because if you don't like a movie, you should be able to say, yeah, fuck this movie, right? Like
Mm.
it's a completely reasonable discourse in the horror community. Like there's this Facebook shit posting group called A Nightmare on Meme Street.
That's good.
And yeah, good memes and excellent fun Discord. And their number one rule is if it's a horror movie, we shit on it. Right? Like,
Okay.
and so I had to leave the group because people were reasonably shit posts. Like some of the shit posts were great, but like I just couldn't be in the group anymore because I couldn't take it, right?
Did
And
they
that's
know you were
fine.
there?
I don't think they knew I was a member of the group. Like I had
Yeah.
posted a few very well received memes, but I don't think anyone had clicked in. There was certainly no discussion like, "Hey, Kyle's in the group, by the way," right? So, like, I don't know. And since I've left, I haven't really followed with it. Also, like, thankfully, the buzz around the movie has quieted down, which is a relief. And it's more moved on to Talk to Me and that new Hulu one about the abduction. No One Will Save You.
Oh, I haven't seen that
So
one. Talk to Me, I heard like really mixed reviews on.
I saw it in the theater. I liked it, and then I got a picture with me in front of the poster, and A24 liked it, which was cool.
Oh, that is
And
cool.
then I had a like Zoom meeting, like, hey, how's it going with A24 the day after, right? So I felt like I had to see it to, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Powerful.
really cool. Also the last time that we spoke, you had mentioned that you were sort of in talks with like a very big production company. Can you say who that is now, or is it
Well,
under wraps
I
still?
very strongly hinted at it in the post I made. Like the logo of the company was on the title head of the post. It
Really?
Come
was,
on,
Wait, did I
Harris.
miss that?
Come on,
Wait, did
Harris.
I
yeah.
miss that? I didn't see
But
it.
like, but they kind of said like, hey, do this as like a like Easter egg, but
Sneak
don't
peek type.
That's
talk
cool.
about it. So I can't really talk about it,
Can you say
but
this?
I put it.
You put it
If you
there.
go find the Twitter thing, it
Okay,
shows.
now I want to know. I'm looking it up. I
Yeah,
gotta see it.
When
it's
Oh, go
yeah.
ahead, Zach.
I know it's nothing to do with Skinamarink 2. That's the main thing we need people to know. Okay, it's not
Yeah,
Skinamarink 2.
but I love the fucking memes. This one guy did a the Gremlins 2 poster, but replaced it with Skinamarink. So Skinamarink 2, the new batch.
I saw one that was like
That's funny.
Skinamatwink or something from Brazil.
Oh no, that's a
That's
well played out meme. Skinamatwink, Skinamatwink. So
Ah,
someone, yeah.
I see the name of the company which is on here. That is very fresh.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know how I
Based
missed
alert.
that the first time
Based
around.
alert.
I think I just saw that, like, I saw your caption, like, I just finished a 117-page rough draft, and I was like, I just didn't
Oh,
even like look
thank
at
you.
anything
Can
else.
you
Thank
give
you.
us a sneak peek in terms of is the vibe for this movie similar to Skinamarink?
Yeah, like it's
Or
gonna
the
be
genre, I suppose, is the correct.
yeah, it's gonna be horror, like also, and I'm not caveating
Are you
that in
horror
any.
ride or die? Like, are you ever gonna brand like
Yeah,
buddy cop? No buddy cop comedy by
I
Mr.
might
Ed?
do like something that's not horror if I do like an ad or a music video at some point in the future, but I'm not like for features, I can't imagine myself not doing horror. And I don't like it when horror directors are like, well, it's not really horror. It's more like it's like, well, oh, okay, I'm sorry, us peasants don't make horror as
Is that a
opposed to
dig at the
you
Midsummer
real.
guy?
No, but like,
Trying to start
like
beef.
No. I love Ari. I really do love Ari Aster. Like I've never met him, but like I love Midsummer. I love
I'd
Hereditary.
see.
Hereditary.
I think
I met
Chris and I
Millie. I
agree on
met
this.
Millie Shapiro, the girl from
Oh,
Hereditary,
really?
at Calgary Horror Con.
Oh,
And
that's
That's cool.
I met her. I met all the killer clowns from outer space guys.
Really? That's cool.
I made a weird like drunk joke at them, and they didn't get it in the moment. And then I met
What was the joke? Do you remember?
it was so in Killer Clowns, the like one of the actors, she gets kidnapped by the clowns, but because they're clowns, she's in like a giant balloon,
Yes.
right? And so she had to cancel. She couldn't come with the rest of the cast and crew to the event. And so I was talking with them, and I said to her, like, oh, I guess she got trapped in that balloon. And they were
And
like,
they were
It's not
and
even a
then,
joke,
I
a reference.
I was told by people working the event that they said, okay, so after they left, one of them said, I just got the balloon joke.
that's funny.
Supposedly,
if they
so.
didn't laugh, like a good follow-up thing is be like, I thought clowns were supposed to have a sense of humor. Yeah, would have killed, dude. That
Based.
would like,
Based.
They got pictures with James Jude. I think it's Courtney, the current guy who plays Michael Myers, the Shape.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he was like the big draw of the event. Like he had lineups out the fucking door. Like he
Really?
was like a few tables down.
Does he even get to show his face in that movie?
No, but that was another weird thing too, because at the meet and greet before the convention started, like it's a lot of people who you don't recognize because they're all like in maps. So like the guy who played the most recent Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like no one knows what he looks like, right? Like
Yeah.
or like, and also the meet and greet, it was in this weirdly dark room with a very low ceiling. So the meet and greet, no one was meeting or greeting. Like the only reason I saw Millie Shapiro at the event, it was because I managed to speak to her assistant, and I said, "Oh, I'd love to get it." So like, but yeah,
That's
the
awesome.
meet and greet was odd. Yeah,
Do you get recognized? Like, did people know who you were just like while you were
a
walking?
handful of people did, like at Calgary Horror Con,
That must be pretty fresh.
That's pretty cool.
and then outside of that, the only like, oh my God, you're Kyle is earlier in the summer, I was at a Pride event. And so I went with my ex, we're still friends during a lane situation, blah blah blah. He went to like exit the grounds to have a smoke, so I was holding his beer because you can't bring beer off, blah blah blah. And so I was just holding his beer, just standing there. And this was still when I had like the long hair and the toque, and I think I was more recognizable then. So I had my long hair and my toque. I had also posted on Twitter live, like, oh, I'm at Pride, blah blah blah. And so I'm just standing there, and I see this kid walking with a John Carpenter's The Thing shirt. And I look at them and I look at the shirt, and they see me looking at their shirt and looking at them, and they look at me and they're like, I loved your movie. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
Oh, that's so cool. That's a great interaction and a very
that was
good
cool.
shirt.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Were you disappointed that the that twink that I saw you lusting over, the country twink from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, was not at the event?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I think he's dead, isn't he?
Oh, what? Oh, damn, bro.
Well, that movie came out in 74.
It did come out a long time.
He was like
old,
30.
yeah.
He was like 30 years old when in 1974. So
yeah, I wonder if he's still kicking it. Yeah, that's really funny though. I noticed, by the way, because you moved into this place recently, the last time we spoke, and I noticed the only decor that you've put in the room is a weight set, what looks like a weight set, and
yeah,
like
Mr.
you getting
Beast.
swole.
So
my god!
So that's my work, and then that's the new ab thing, and
Let's
then
fucking go.
Most of my weights I keep in the closet, but I consistently work out like 3 days a week. And so House of Decline will like this. I do decline chest presses.
Let's fucking
and
go.
I can do
in your house.
in the house.
Yeah, and yeah, there you go. And so yeah,
Dude,
but
are
I
we
keep
are we about to see Beefy Edward Ball? Is that about
Kyle
to
Edward
happen?
No,
Or
Beefy.
you just
I've reached basically the level of fit that I want because I wanted to get thinner and I did that. And so I've got a twunk body and
Let's
I'm
go.
basically
Powerful.
gonna the
Let's
only
go.
like thing I want to improve is I got the ab thing because I have a like kind of 4-pack when I'm well hydrated and I want to have like even if I've drinking a bunch of water, a 6-pack that
Just like
I'll send you
shredded.
those
Oh.
pee pills that I was taking that make you pee literally every 30 minutes, bro. You're
What?
gonna be shredded. You're
You'll
gonna
be
I
be
don't
shredded.
need
shredded
pills for
immediately.
that.
Yeah.
Based.
Wait, there was something else I was gonna ask you. Oh, have you gotten like DMs or messages from any other like big movie directors, horror film people
Yeah,
that
I got,
Cronenberg?
Aaron Moorhead and Benson, the guy who they did that series of horror movies. So The Endless, Something in the Dirt. They directed the new season of Loki.
Mm,
They've met they I don't know if they DM'd me, but I think they've DM'd me, which felt really cool. Jane Shoburn, the director of We're All Going to the World's Fair.
nice.
There's a handful of and I'm sure there's people I'm forgetting, so if I'm forgetting your name, I'm really sorry. Jim Cummings, and they haven't DM'd me, but when the movie kind of before it released and was really blowing up, Jordan Peele had requested a DCP of the movie.
What is that, an early viewing?
Yeah, so like an
Really?
actual like for a screening room, but I didn't
Oh,
talk to him. It was all
cool.
like his people emailed my people, and
That's cool.
then I but I never found out whether he liked the movie or not, and I kind of want to keep it that way. Like if he hated it, I kind of don't want to know, to be
I'm sure
honest.
he didn't. I mean, I would say
Schrodinger's
that
hater.
a lot of people who are really into movies will, even if like just by watching Skinamarink, I think anyone who has, in my opinion, good taste, like good taste to me doesn't, okay, let me, that's the only word that I can think of, but good taste doesn't necessarily mean that what you like is good, but it's like you should be able to look at like a lot of different styles and genres and recognize the value in, you know what I mean? So that even if somebody
Yeah.
maybe didn't have a pleasant experience watching Skinamarink, I would say that a lot of people who are in the industry who are worth their salt would see the value. And it's like I said, I'm pretty sure I said this last time that we had you on. I really think in the next like 5 years, we're going to be seeing a lot of movies that are like biting the Skinamarink style, and I think
Well,
you reeled that in
I
really
do,
for
it's
to the
already kind
silver
of
screen.
seeped into pop culture. Like the director of
Oh, that music video thing.
yeah, Doja Cat's Demons video.
Oh yeah,
He confirmed that there's multiple references to
to
Skinamarink in
Skinamarink.
the video,
That's cool.
and he claimed that Doja Cat was a fan of the film. So
That's
Very,
pretty
very
fresh,
cool.
dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is
Listen,
awesome.
boys, no cigarette breaks, but I'm gonna go grab a slice of prosciutto. It's so
Oh,
tasty.
okay.
oh wait, I had another question I
He's
wanted to
so
ask you.
Italian.
I know he's so it's like literally let me grab a slice of prosciutto. I had another question. I know that the last time we were also asking you about I'm not trying to like inundate you with questions, but I like
No, it's fine.
I really want to get more into writing. I do some writing, but I'm so into the short form like comics at this point that it almost consumes me. So somebody like you who's just like writing really interesting, unique material, especially for like the big screen, is just like very inspiring and cool to me. So
Aw.
it's hard for me not to like geek out and ask you like questions. But I remember that the last time we spoke also, you mentioned that the process, because you were also the editor of Skinamarink,
Mhm.
right? So you filmed it, you edited it. It was a very like small circle in that it was just you. And you mentioned that during the process of editing, which a lot of filmmakers know is it's the longest part, right? It's what takes the most
Yeah.
time. It was like dead of winter, and it was like kind of a miserable process, just like emotionally
Yeah.
draining, right?
Yeah.
And I know that you said there were like some things going on in your personal life at that time too, which didn't help, and which is terrible. But I was curious if like this time around when you're filming a movie which is going to, it sounds like it's sort of in the same style and tone as Skinamarink. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
Like, are you preparing yourself for another process like that, or do you want to make this a more like enjoyable experience this time around?
Well, so I found with Skinamarink, writing it and editing it was devastating, but shooting it was actually quite fun.
Hmm.
And that's really the only part that needs to be fun, because when you're bringing in other people, you don't want it to be depressing and upsetting and stuff. Like, so I'm hoping for this, it's the same way. Like, I'd say, like, so when we get to filming it, hopefully that goes off without a hitch and is an enjoyable process. Writing it, even though like I on Twitter I've shown that, yeah, I'm happy, blah blah blah, like I've also not had the best things happen this summer personally either, and that's kind of gone into the script. And but it's weird because it's like, okay, well, if I'm so happy all the time, how is, like, what if I lose something there? What if the script is too happy? What if this or that? And luckily in life, like, tragedy will find you, and you can certainly put that into your art. And so, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Bro,
Are
do
there
you?
Oh, sorry.
I don't know if this was kind of what you were saying, but I was literally talking to my buddy. I don't think it was you, Harris. It might have been Ryan, but
What's up?
I feel like when I'm my most manic and depressed, that is when I'm creating the best.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
it's true.
I'm like that. Like,
Whenever,
it's,
like,
it
dude, when I have a
happens.
girlfriend, it's like, it sucks. All my shit sucks because I'm happy, and I'm like,
Oh.
I try to, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm worried I lose something when I'm like not like that.
Negative human emotions are a very powerful, like, artistic motivator. As sad as it is, it really does bring out, like, it brings out some pretty unique material when you're not in a good place mentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kyle, did you
And
get buccal fat removal, Mr. Celebrity?
no, I just
Just a
no.
strong
Jaw
jaw.
is beautiful. Oh my
Oh
god! What
my
was
God!
that?
It's this face card never declines.
It just like, I think it's because I lost so much weight so quickly. I have, like, it's called Ozempic face, which is like,
Which is
not,
based.
I didn't use Ozempic to lose weight. I just, like, got really serious and lost a lot. And so it gives you these, yeah, and I have kind of angular features in general. So
Or no,
That's
you
strong.
know who you kind of look like? Did I mention this last episode?
Bjork.
You look like, not Bjork.
Bjork?
You look like
I think I kind of
handsome,
look like,
You do kind of
handsome
look like
Seth
Bjork.
MacFarlane a little bit. There's something
I've
like
gotten that
You,
before.
yeah,
you
could
could
be
play
like
as
a
like
cousin.
his hot younger brother. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm saying?
can see that. I can
I think
see that.
Seth MacFarlane's not a bad looking guy.
He's a good looking
Yeah,
guy.
he's charming.
Yeah.
The,
Like, imagine having sex with him, he'd do all those voices.
imagine he does
What
like,
the deuce?
what if he does
I'm
giggity? You think
Stewie.
he ever says giggity or does like the Quagmire voice when he's like trying to like
He
seduce a woman?
definitely,
I
bro.
hope not.
He's
I hope
definitely
not.
done that.
Do the voice.
I remember there was one time that me and my buddy, because like I was really in a phase where I was watching a lot of Family Guy because it's a funny ass show. I don't care what people say, but
It is
like
funny,
it's
yeah.
so funny. I was in a phase where I was watching a lot, and I remember like there was one time that I was at a friend's house and we both were really high, and we were like clicking through YouTube, and we started watching a like best of Quagmire, like funniest Quagmire moments. And it was
Yeah.
like the first couple minutes were funny, and then we were like, this is kind of fucked up. Like this is like
Yeah.
it's like too much, all sexual assault jokes.
Dude,
and
a
him
lot
being,
of
like,
in the earlier
way
seasons,
over the
a lot of
line.
his punchlines were like dropping pills in women's drinks
Literally
or something, and
that's
it's like,
Jesus, got
Yeah.
dark
brother.
really quick. Oh, this is what I wanted to ask too.
I still think Stewie is like kind of the center of the comedy and the
I
like,
miss
Stewie's
the
the
early
best.
Stewie,
Stewie
bro.
is so funny, man. Stewie's the best. I remember that like the first time I watched one of those like only Stewie and Brian episodes, of which now I think there's a bunch of them. But I remember watching one of the first ones, and just thinking to myself, like, it's crazy. This is one guy talking to himself. Like the
Yeah.
entire episode is like,
Dude, yeah,
kind of
everyone gave
wild.
Roiland so much praise, and it's like, my boy Seth has been in the
He's
trenches,
been doing
voicing
it
every character from
forever.
the beginning.
And Seth didn't text any minors either.
That's crazy.
Oh
That's
yeah, and
Did Royland, was that Royland who did that?
Yes, yeah.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
he was sending, and it's like I think even afterwards, people were like, no, he was like acquitted of the charges or whatever, and I'm like, dude, I saw the DMs. Like even if it
Dude,
was
the
an
thing
of age woman, those
he
DMs
was
were
arguing
so
though that
cringe.
he was just talking, and it's like, dude, those texts you were sending where you were like making racial Chinese voices and
I was like,
using the R slur. I was like, this is what I send when I'm trying to get puss.
no.
Like, you are not just talking. You're not
Please,
just
no.
talking, bro. Like,
Oh God. Oh, here's what I wanted to ask Kyle. The now also because you finished Skinamarink, and now of course I'm sure you've also watched it a bunch of times. Obviously you edited it and it's like done.
Yeah.
Now that you've written this one, obviously Skinamarink is an incredible piece which stands on its own, but was there anything in mind that you were like, I want to do this differently this time around, like when with
Yeah,
this new movie?
well, there was more things of like, oh, now that I might have a budget, like I could do this or I could do that
are you
or I
taking
could
my
do
Spider-Man idea? Is he going to be in the movie?
I just watched the latest Miles Morales one.
It's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good.
It's
I
good.
I
I
liked
like
it a
the first
lot.
one. I like the
Yeah.
first
I
one better.
liked it.
It's
I like,
exciting. Very
yeah,
visually cool too, yeah.
but I there was a lot more like, okay, now that I have a budget, maybe I could do this or maybe, but they're all like kind of just stupid like, oh, like I could like there could be a cat in the movie because we have a budget or like just like little weird
I
things
got
like
Too
that
big
where
budget.
I got two you can take off my my hands.
or like when you have a small budget, you have to be so like, okay, we can't waste time, we can't do this, we can't. So you can't have even little things where a medium budget movie seems so inconsequential. Like, yeah, of course we can have a cat, or like, of course we can have a bunch of shots outside, or this or that. But so I've kind of just been leaning more into that where I have more freedom this time, but I don't want too much freedom because then you might lose a bit of the creepy and yeah.
Have you considered paying someone to operate the camera this time, and they can actually put it like on
I
this,
did
what's
pay
happening in
someone
the
to
scene?
operate. I did pay
On the
someone to
last one?
operate a camera on the last.
Well, I
But
did also
they
see
were
shots
pointing it
of
at the
you
corner
holding
of
the
the
camera
room.
too.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but like like I think with this one, although that was like experiment too, right? Like that was
Yeah.
I'm
I
teasing
know.
you, Kyle.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
I was like,
Well,
is he
that's
actually
another thing
answering
too
this?
with this budget. Like I can do I can be like, oh, I can basically shoot, light it, any way I want, right? And then at some point I was like, well, maybe I don't want to go that far with it. And let's bring it back down a bit. So yeah.
Do you want to stick with like practical effects in the new one? Because
You
that was a
must. You
big in
must.
the. I know that's like
Well,
kind of the
yeah,
calling
but
card.
like I'm even leaning more into like special the way they did effects in the 60s and stuff, right? Like I really like that. Like so maybe I did like
You're talking about
have
like a blend of practical and digital?
yeah, or even like I thought, oh, it'd be cool if I could bring back like matte paintings.
Oh, that dude. See, something
Like
like
I
that would be
thought,
very
Wait,
which
cool.
what is that?
they do
What is that?
version like
It's like
in how would we
Eraserhead has
describe
him
it?
kind of, right?
No,
In
like
the
let me
dream
find an
sequence?
example.
What is a matte
Oh, I
painting?
guess I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like a painted background.
Yeah, matte painting. Let's find the Raiders of the Lost Ark one.
I swear there's one. I
Share
could
it
be
in the
wrong.
chat here if
Not
you
to
can.
be
Yeah.
off.
Because I mean, Skinamarink, I know you were on like shoestring budget the first time around, and this time because now you'll have some financial backing, you can obviously do a lot more. But yeah, I'm curious to see. It was cool to hear last time about like some of the ways that you created like like the face in the last shot. That was kind of
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, like some of that stuff is really cool. I love that kind of like behind the scenes stuff, like making things work. And it's funny that we were talking about John Carpenter's The Thing because that guy was wearing a shirt, but it's like that is like, I mean, that is like god tier special effects, like a horror movie. Like that was like really, really cool stuff. I'd love to see some stuff like that. Oh, what am I looking at here?
Yeah, like an
Remember the final shot of Raiders of the Lost Ark where the guy's wheeling the cart of the Lost Ark and it pulls out and it's this giant room that's a bunch of boxes and archives.
Yeah,
That most of that room was a literal painting, right?
that
Like
is
someone painted it.
crazy.
And
That's
so
cool. Didn't
um
know that.
I like there's a part of me that's like, oh, maybe I could have stuff like that, right? Like really harken back to old effects that you could like a keen observer can tell, oh, that's a painting, but God,
Mm,
it just looks so beautiful. And
yeah,
yeah.
that's really cool.
Is there any pressure now that you're like, I mean, you sound like you're pretty happy with the company you're working with, but is there any pressure, and do you think there will be any pressure the bigger you get to like, oh, you have to have some old school practical like jump scares? Like,
But like, but I like Skinamarink had some
It did have
fairly,
jump
and it
scares.
even had like a super air quote cheap jump scare, right? Where it's literally like,
which
right?
one?
The phone,
Yeah, the
right?
phone
Like,
ringing was like it was like after like I want to say like 30 minutes of complete silence, the phone goes like really, really loud. And I
yeah.
remember
There's
watching
something
and being like,
about that
ah,
to me though that's more like, well, yeah, I guess that does count as like but there's like to
Like,
me that's
and
more about the
so
vibe,
I
mm,
right?
like,
Like,
and like, I love a good cheap jump scare. If it
yeah.
makes you jump, it's not that cheap either. But like, so like, I think I'll always have a handful of jump scares in a movie.
Yeah, I think jump scares are
But
fun.
like, yeah,
you
I
just
so
mean,
can't do the rip-off ones they do at the beginning of horror movies where it's like, we're playing the song, you know a jump scare's coming, and then it's like a guy
yeah.
like, I brought pizza. Like, you know those ones I'm talking about where it's like
yeah,
they're
that's
revving you
classic.
up and then it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
you
come
can't
on.
stay away
I
from
mean,
those. Stay away from those.
I know that I said this the last time we spoke, but it's still true. The fucking scene in the parents' bedroom in Skinamarink is like no jump scares, but it's like the scariest scene I think that
To
I've
me, you
seen in a horror
shined there the
movie.
most with the
That
like. To
was
me,
a
that's
Oh, thank
scarier.
that
you.
was like the
Yeah.
most chilling scene I've seen in a horror movie in
That's
a
been
very
a
long
hard
time.
thing too, because like even if people didn't like the movie, a lot of them are like, yeah, but the look under the bed scene is really good. And it's like in
Yes.
writing this next one, I have a handful of scenes where I felt like, okay, I maybe reached that level, but I don't know. We'll see. It's scary when your first movie was kind of a surprise hit to match that. But we'll see. We'll see.
Do what
I
does
feel a
the
lot of pressure of like, okay, if this one isn't good, then people are gonna say, oh well, Skinamarink was just kind of a happy accident, and then I'm gonna have to direct like the Conjuring sequels for the rest of my life. And I don't like, and not to like look down on people who do stuff like that, but like I really don't want to have to do that. I want to make my own kind of.
Your
I
own
think,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
as much as this
Yeah.
is probably not what you want to hear, I think that pressure is actually going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be a motivating
Yeah,
factor.
I
You
think
know
it,
what I
it
mean?
it already has. Like it's really lit a fire under my ass to make sure script number two is good and different and da da da. And
Do
I've already started like going back and revising it,
mhm.
and that's been going well too. Like I haven't been like it's been working well. I haven't been like being like, oh, this is shit, right? Like I've been like, oh yeah, and then I can cut this and oh, let's change. Like that's been fulfilling
Mhm.
revising it, right? So hopefully that works.
I did. I will also say that some of those episodes where we were filming like in the country, especially I think one of the first ones
we brought you
uploaded.
up like every 3 minutes.
I really did have you
Oh,
in
really?
mind. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
because we were
is
like,
that-
it's spooky as like it's
Well, there was
spooky
Oh,
as
I'm so honored.
the first one that we filmed, or maybe it wasn't the first one we filmed, but the first one that we definitely, I think, uploaded
we
to
did
YouTube.
like Skinamarink scene that Harris designed. Yeah.
I like set up the camera so we were playing Donkey Kong Country and you couldn't see us really.
Was there
or,
a?
like, what was...
I only listened to it. I didn't hear like.
There
see
is a
that.
video.
It was
yeah,
a YouTube one.
If you're
yeah.
on YouTube and you watch it, we're like outside and it starts raining and there's just a jump cut and we move inside and the inside shot is very like dimly lit but like naturally lit by us playing Donkey Kong.
It was heavily
Country.
it was Skinamarink inspired.
And I was
I'm
like,
sorry I didn't. Because like
That's
with
okay.
me podcasts, I usually just listen because I like to do stuff while I'm doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
I'm
get
the
that.
same way.
Haha,
The same way.
Harris, you. Right, like
yeah. I think when we set that one up, like at first I was like, is this shot gonna make sense? But I was like, no, this is like
It's
this
one of
is
my favorite
Skinamarink shot.
transitions
like,
and
what I
shots,
was...
bro.
Yeah, I think
Did you
I think
guys-
it worked well.
Can I ask, did you pay for Zoom?
We did.
We did.
We did. That's why we have not been.
The people
off.
said if Kyle's coming back on, we want to see him in his removed buccal fat in 1080p.
I got my art hanging in some Asiatic countries. Twitter comedians still think that they can touch me. New kid getting too shit-faced with Rusty. Glad I showed up, man, a whole scene was dusty. And I don't give a fuck if you like me, you dumb hussy. You and your whole little posse fucking disgust me. Best to ever do it? Bitch, I must be schmoozing with Colombiana honeys like I'm Muzzy.